Mic test. Checking. Mic test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going live. You guys may be wondering why I'm going live at 6 o'clock. And the reason for that is because my dinner has been moved. So I'm going to be doing that later. And so I'm going to finish this because I will not be able to do my dinner tonight otherwise. So, good evening. I hope you're all having a great day so far. Yes, we are early. Folks on TikTok are telling me, why are you online right now? Yeah, so that's the reason why. We're going online because I will not be able to go online tonight. But I want to go online. I want to share some thoughts. I want to talk about your career issues. So, tonight's session, because I want to get this on, I want to get off early as well. Gladiators in suits. So, tonight's session is about leadership. Tonight's session is about how can I assert my leadership if I happen to be new in the team. That doesn't have to be you managing a group of people wherein they have to directly report to you. Remember that leadership is all about influence. It's the ability to make people move and get something done, even if they don't like you, for example, and even if they don't like their job. Okay? So we're going to talk about that in today's session. I'm going to let the class float in for a while. Also, the reason why I went online because it's raining. It's raining so hard. So I would figure that people are stuck in traffic right now if ever they're leaving. Okay, so please take note that even if our topic for tonight is about leadership, you can still ask questions that pertain to other things, such as, for example, your job, applying for a new company, job searching, job interviews. It could also refer to, let's say, communicating confidently, business writing, and all these things. Okay, we're gonna float all of them, and then I'm also going to raise some questions that have been submitted in our online portal. You may be familiar that yesterday we just announced that we are opening a portal, like an online Dropbox, where you guys can send your career issues. So that's johnyabut.com/advice. And we've been flooded by questions already. So I'm also going to be asking those questions in tonight's uh, live stream. Okay, I think I'll feature five, depending on how your questions are gonna pan out. Also, okay. Are you all cool? Can I get an exclamation mark from our folks, from our gladiators in suits? If your guys are ready to start, please give us a heart, give us a like. We would appreciate that from our participants. Mako is asking, what is your skincare? It's easy. It's TikTok filter. TikTok gives you a relatively good skin. I don't think my skin is super perfect like this. Okay, team, is it okay if I can start now? Because I have a few questions now. I want to raise one question that was raised in our portal. Again, if ever your question has not been answered in this session, you can please type your question, submit it in our online portal, and that is johnyabut.com/advice. Okay, johnyabut.com/advice. So I want to read this question now. This one really got my interest. So the question is this: Hello, John. I have already accepted a job offer from a bank, but after 3 weeks, I got a better offer in another company, and this time it's a financial services based company. I feel that the opportunity is better and it suits my experience and growth. However, in the banking, I think it's traditional and the offer is going to lower my rank with less compensation benefits. What are your thoughts? Okay, I guess this guy is asking, should I, now that I have accepted an offer and another offer came in prematurely, I'm just in the company for 3 weeks, is it okay, Jonathan, to abandon and leave this job that is so new and move on to the other company? Okay, This one's a really hard question to answer because number one, if you've only been 3 weeks in the company and you are going to leave, obviously it's going to leave a very sour taste in the mouth of the business owners, your manager, and also your HR. Does this happen? Yes, it does. I have experienced it. I've had some friends who did it. I also gave this advice to some friends because if they really want the other job so bad, when I say they want it so bad, they know that they will never get this opportunity again. And so I told them, okay, you're only 4 weeks into your current job. Someone contacted you, go and leave. What are going to be the potential disadvantages and what are going to be the consequences? Well, number one, if ever this bank is so big, they obviously are going to put a mark on you. You probably are going to get banned from this company because it's not a good thing to just leave after 3 weeks of working in that organization. They can probably talk about you, meaning if the HR gets pissed off, that HR person may talk about you with other HRs in other banks and say, this guy, don't ever accept him. We got him for only 3 weeks and now he's left for another job. Okay. So I think that's the worst case that may happen. The good thing about being only 3 weeks is that perhaps the clauses in your contract, such as do I need to render 30 days or 60 days, is not going to be applicable to you because you're still a probationary employee. So the 30 or 60 days may not be applicable. However, if it's still going to be applicable, then you have no choice. Even if you tender your resignation, you have to render 30 days or 60 days, depending on your contract. My point here is I don't think you should be stuck in a company that you think you're only settling for less. And it was your second choice. Granted, it's going to look rude. Granted that people will think that you are not committed to your decisions in life. But hey, I think they only come once or twice in your life. So go for it. Okay? So that's the first one. Okay. Someone's asking, how do we get your books? If you happen to be from the Philippines, you can get our copies in National Bookstore, Fully Booked, and also in Lazada and Shopee. If you happen to be abroad, our books are only available in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. So in Malaysia, Singapore, they're available in MPH and Kinokuniya. In Vietnam, they're available in Saigon Bookstore. In UAE, they're available in Magrudi's. If you are outside those countries, we can only offer the digital copies. So you can also go to our website, jonathanyabut.com, to get ebooks. Okay, let's answer some more questions here. This time, let me pick a question on TikTok. Ben, by the way, on TikTok says, it's a 1990s way of thinking to worry about what the company thinks. They will not care. Okay. I agree. It's going to be a painful thought for a few weeks, but companies will move on. I will say, however, that this is not something that you do all the time. You probably will do this only once or twice in your career. It is not something that you do that every time someone offers you something better, you just instantly leave. Okay? I think it's, to a certain extent, I think it's not the polite way to build relationships with organizations and with HR. Okay. Jenny Dalit from TikTok is asking, how do you approach someone who is moody and silent subordinate who doesn't even greet good morning? This might be, it depends on the person, because if I'm the person you're asking, I don't care if you greet me or don't greet me a good morning. What matters more for me is if you meet the bottom line of the business. What matters more for me is that even if you're not as cheerful as I wish that you would, you still are able to build relationships with your teammates. Meaning, you respond to them when you need to. You hang out with them for lunch from time to time. I'm not asking you to do that every day, but at least just good amount of relationships so that you guys will have a level of trust. Okay? Why am I saying this? I don't think you should be imposing your level of cheerfulness to other people. If your threshold for being happy is higher, you don't have the right to impose that on others. People live their lives differently. And so your level of cheerfulness for you may be normal. For others, it's over the top. Your level of, let's say, silence may be perceived as being depressed, but for another person, it's just normal because it's okay not to be happy all the time. So it's a matter of thresholds. And I don't think we should be imposing our definition of cheerfulness at work to others as long as they get the job done, as long as they're not hurting anyone, and as long as it's just a good balanced amount of relationships for people to be able to trust each other. Okay? That's my take on it, Jenny. Okay. Luigi, okay, sabi ko na nga ba, the moment I start answering questions regarding quitting, everyone's gonna start raising thoughts about quitting. But that's fine. If it's gonna be a night about questions on quitting, okay, let's go for it. So here's a question from Luigi. Sir, what is a remedy if I have rendered already 30 days and I don't have any accountability for the company, but they don't want to sign my clearance because they are asking me to finish something that I have to accomplish? Okay, number one, if you're talking about the Philippine labor law, Luigi, maybe you can message me later on. But the labor code of the Philippines holds it illegal for any company to withhold your last month's salary. Okay, the best thing that I can tell you is to report this company to the Department of Labor and Employment. So message me separately because I do have a copy of the number of the hotline and the email address. Of course, take into consideration that you're not the only customer that they're talking to. They're probably talking to thousands of other people, so that may take time. My suggestion, however, is to negotiate with a level of threat. What do I mean? Send an email to that company and tell them, okay, I've already finished everything I have to finish, but you're still withholding my last salary. Please take note that I have reported you to the Department of Labor and Employment. And if ever they have accomplished taking in my report, please take note that they are going to call you and ask you about the issue. Sometimes those acts are going to make them feel threatened that they will end up releasing your last month's pay. I think that's an effective way to do it. Okay? As long as Luigi, you're being honest in telling me that you really have accomplished everything that you have before you've left the organization. Okay? Thank you for that question. The 30 days notice with resignation, need to um, does that mean that I have to be present all the time? Well, technically you should. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the only way, well, number one, if ever you're going to be out, it's either you are a wall or you're going to use up your sick leave or your last remaining leaves, meaning your termination leaves. That also can work for it. But if you have a good company, they will not be so strict to the point that you have to finish all the 30 days. That every time you become absent in one of the days, you will suddenly have to extend another day. Okay? Of course, wag niyo naman abusuhin to the point that you have 30 days and then you just become a wall for 15 days. They will really have a reason to withhold your last month's salary. Okay? Uh, okay. Joma Angeles, I need your insight on my current company. It had several series of redundancies, meaning people were let go and they were redundated. Should I look for a new job? Well, I don't think this is a something that's rocket science. If a company starts to announcing redundancies in the organization. And that can mean, for example, an organizational change. It can only mean two things. Number one, the company is adapting to the changes and is evolving. So it's trying to make certain positions streamlined. It doesn't mean that it is starting to become financially in trouble, not all the time. But somehow, if you look at the trend, most companies that fire others and merge multiple positions for only one person end up being in financial trouble. So, yes, I don't think it hurts that you start floating your resume and your CV on LinkedIn or JobStreet, for example, so that if push comes to shove, if something happens in the next 2 or 3 months, you have already been doing your job interviews. Okay. I will also remind a lot of folks that doing job interviews, even if you're not sure if you're not leaving yet, is a very strategic and beneficial act. Why? It's easy to do job interviews these days. You can do a lot of job interviews on Zoom or Microsoft Teams. A lot of them can happen virtually. In fact, you guys are so lucky. Sobrang swerte ng generation right now, ah. When I was in my early 20s, I really had to sneak out of my company, meaning I would schedule that on a job interview at 1 o'clock and then be back in the office around 1:30 or 1:45 because that time there wasn't yet bad traffic. Or I would schedule my job interview around 4 o'clock or 4:30 and then ask permission from my boss that I have to leave early because I have to run an errand or emergency. Not my proudest moment, obviously, right? But these days, you don't need to make those excuses. These days, you can do a job interview because you're working from home, for example, remotely in front of a Zoom account. So take advantage of that. Okay. Kyler Chia on TikTok. I have two job offers right now, a stable one with a better pay and a more exciting but unstable tech startup. What should I choose? Depends on what you're after. If you're after the challenge, if you're after the idea that you can learn something different, which will make you a more valuable talent in the future, then a startup will definitely give you that. If you're looking for the ability to become more independent, resourceful, creative, and all the stress that you need, I think startups can give you that. However, if you're after stability and predictability of money, you want to make sure that if in case you're a breadwinner or you're paying a certain bill, let's say you've signed up to an insurance policy or you've signed up to a real estate property, I think you need a solid source of income for that. And if that's the case, you might want to stick it out with the one that gives you predictability. Okay. Whenever I answer these kinds of questions, I will always say that there is no right or wrong. It will always depend on what you're looking for, which means the best person who can answer this is no one else but you. Okay? Uh, okay, one more. I was about to. What are the signs that you are under a toxic team, says Owen? My definition of toxicity is number one, the culture of the company focuses on the number of hours that you give rather than the output. Meaning, even if you've already accomplished your job, you have this paranoia or this pressure that you have to stay in the office until your manager or the rest of the team have also left the company. And this is toxic. Why? People are not recognizing you for your efficiency. People are only counting the number of hours as if that's the only thing that matters. That, I think, is a very toxic company. Because no matter how fast and efficient you are, they will not recognize it. They will always think it's all about the number of hours you put in every day. I don't want to work for that kind of company. It's also a company that likely is very slow. It takes them a lot of time to finish routing an approval, to finish a project because everyone wants to make it look like they're busy. That for me is a toxic company. Another toxic company is lots of paperwork. My definition, lots of paperwork. People do not trust each other such that they do not conduct meetings because they think that meetings are verbal and therefore the agreements will not be captured. Instead, people send memos to each other, passive aggressive memos, so that they document each other's ideas and thoughts. A lot of paperwork slows down people's time. So that for me is also a toxic company. Okay? I could go on and on. I can rant with a lot of lists, but in the interest of time, top of my mind, those two things make a company toxic. And remember, a toxic company only becomes toxic because the people and the leaders allow it to be toxic. Okay. Okay, quickly from Catriona Balfe. How do you differentiate branding and marketing? Branding is a subset of marketing. Marketing is a bigger scope. Marketing is advertising, strategic thinking. It also involves, for example, uh, inventory management to a certain extent. It has a big part of working up with sales. Branding, on the other hand, is just a small part of marketing. So, branding would include managing your logo, managing your equity and reputation. What do people think about you? Managing the colors, for example, that you use in your posters. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Ba naging marketing na yung question natin kanina? Okay, before we continue, can I get an exclamation mark or a heart? We'll appreciate that from our participants if we guys are learning something so far. Thank you. What's your opinion about using emoticons in emails or business communication? I think emoticons or emojis are fine if you have already built a relationship with that person. If it's your first time to talk to that person, you haven't seen each other yet, you haven't even built rapport or relationship, stick to the basics. Keep your sentences clean with words. Okay. Let's look at some more questions here. Okay. This one's from TikTok. What is your take on Gen Z's? Ooh, a lot. Good things and bad things, just like Gen Y and just like also Gen X. Uh, Obviously, good things about the Gen Zs. I think this is one of the most technologically advanced generation. They're very comfortable with using technology in getting things done. They're not afraid that they might make a mistake in touching a button, creating a new platform, or even involving themselves in entrepreneurship. Remember, this is a generation that thinks that the world economy is driven by content. So for that reason, I applaud them because they're very, a lot of Gen Zs are risk lovers, I must say, compared to your Gen X who are more risk averse. Okay. My only wish that the Gen Zs, and again, I'm generalizing here, so it's okay for me to be called out because the experience might be different for other companies or for other countries. But from my experience, the biggest change I'd like to see from the Gen Z is a deeper level of commitment to what they do. What do I mean? If you're asked to do a certain project, finish it until the end. If you easily get bored with it, that's not a valid excuse. You signed up for it, you wanted to do it, you also asked for it. Even if you don't like it, it's your responsibility to find a way to like it back. Finish it, commit to it. That also includes with your job. Just because that you don't like your job in the first 1 month or 2 months doesn't give you that license to suddenly say, I'm going to quit and I'm going to look for a different job instead. And I've been saying this very vocally. I don't like it when we are abusing the concept of mental health as an excuse that you should easily quit your job. I don't like it when you just raise the mental health card, say, oh, it's my mental health. Oh no, I'm getting stressed. Yes, you may be stressed, but your threshold for stress needs to be improved. Because for some people, it's not stress, it's a challenge. It's a situation that can be managed if you give it more time. It's a situation that can be given a solution to if only you ask for assistance and support from others. It's not a mental health crisis. Don't get me wrong. And this is not me saying that every issue is being belittled or being exaggerated. I totally understand that there are really some issues concerning mental health that if you think that this causes you anxiety day in and day out, I think it's valid for you to leave. But I'm also calling out the other part of the equation wherein I have seen so many, and I've experienced this as an employer myself, as an entrepreneur myself. I have met some people wherein they just make one mistake and they get called out for it, and they easily say that this is not good for their mental health, therefore I'm going to quit. If you're going to have that mindset, you will not last long in the business sector because challenges as you grow older even get tougher as well. So you want to make your resilience, your tenacity. You want to stretch that as much as you can. And it's important to do that when you're also younger. Okay? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my TED talk about Gen Zs. Uh, okay. Ooh, I like this from Tina. What do you do if you love your job but the company is toxic? One route is that despite all the toxicity, you change your perspective and tell to yourself there are other beautiful things that make me engage in my job. So you become selective in what you see, you become selective in what you hear. And a lot of people are able to get by if they take on that perspective. Okay, that's one. Number two, try to divert your attention into other things so that the toxicity is managed. Divert it to the people that you love, divert it to the project that you like, divert it to what do you get out of this job financially, such that the money that you get, and it could be a financially rewarding job, allows you therefore to travel, spend more time with family, build a bigger house or a better house, for example. The change in perspective will significantly help you despite the toxicity. Again, I'm going to flip the coin. If it's really something so toxic to the point that it doesn't help you grow, it's the only thing you think about in the morning and evening, and therefore it's bad. I'm going to use this at this time for your mental health. Then I think it's not worth pursuing. I think it's not worth staying, despite all the good things about it as well. Ooh, I like this question. Okay. Then Cesar on Facebook is asking, how can you professionally tell your boss to not be too nice in giving you feedback and to be more honest so you can work on what you are lacking on? Okay, two things. Number one, for me, the simplest way is to tell it directly to your manager and say, boss, ang bait mo naman. Can you tell me exactly what I think should I improve on? And here's where you need to be specific. If the manager is not giving you specific comments, they're being too nice. So be the one to ask it from them. So for example, you just finished a PowerPoint presentation. It had 10 slides. Okay? Your manager was so nice and he only said, yeah, the presentation was good. The audience liked what you said. If you're not believing in what he said, be specific. Say something like, boss, okay, thank you for telling me it was nice. But on slide number 4, I thought kinulang ako on letter A, B, and C. I feel that I did not do X, Y, and Z. Do you agree? Is there something that I need to improve more on this? The more specific you are with asking those comments, the more you pressure in a healthy way your manager to also give honest feedback. Can I get an exclamation mark if we are learning something from that situation? Remember, garbage in, garbage out. The better you ask the questions, the better the answers also will be. Okay? That's one. The number two suggestion to make your boss more honest about feedback is sometimes you have to tell him exactly how you feel about it. I will reverse the table. I will say something like, boss, if I don't get feedback that are constructive from you, I feel that I am not growing properly. I feel that I'm not growing enough as fast. So, can I request, right? It's okay if you need to be harsher on your thoughts. In fact, it is something that I will like because only when I get those types of feedback can I improve my craft. Okay? Okay. Let's ask some more questions here. Do companies really care about mental health or are they just doing it for public relations? It depends on the company. Some do, some don't. I have met companies that do. I've also met some companies that don't. For example, I've met companies wherein nagpapa-webinar. So many webinars about mental health, and yet, when you look at their people, they remain to be stressed and depressed because they're not given the right equipment. They don't even spend for their laptops or proper internet connection. How can you cover mental health if the basics are not even provided? So it depends on the company, depends on the industry, depends on the culture. Our company has had 4 rounds of redundancy in 6 months. Is that a red flag? I don't think so. It could be that there's just restructuring in certain departments. I would say it's a red flag if the redundancies all happen at the same time, because that means they're trimming down people. Okay. Ooh, okay. Francis Javier, I want to answer this question. What is the approach if the employee is from Generation Z and the boss is a baby boomer, meaning in their 50s, and you happen to be in your early 20s? The one thing that we know, and this is proven in a lot of research, that the baby boomers always want is a level of predictability, a level of control. They don't like it when something is just left in the air, and they don't like ambiguity, especially for their jobs. Can I get another exclamation mark if we can relate to that? So, what do I mean? If, let's say, your manager is a baby boomer, there is a big chance that they can also be micromanagers. They're micromanagers because they want to be able to predict how will the spreadsheets or the PowerPoints come out by telling you that this is the template to use, by telling you that this is the formula, for example, to use. Okay? So if you happen to be a Generation Z, understand that sometimes when they have a tendency to micromanage you, it's not because uh, they think that you are incompetent. It's not because they think that you should be guided all the time. Maybe you can, maybe you should, but not all the time. But it's mostly because as a Generation X, they feel that if they do not focus on the process, the output might not be what they are expecting, and therefore they will get disappointed. Therefore they might waste their time because they could have worked on it earlier when the situation isn't as part of the mold or the template. Okay? If you happen to be a Gen Z, therefore, try to give your baby boomer manager a level of predictability. So, for example, if they ask you to craft certain PowerPoint slides, tell them, okay, boss, I'm going to work on the slides in the meantime. Is it okay that I get back to you at around 4 or 5 p.m. and let's go through the slides together? You're giving them a sense of predictability because you're letting them know, I will not submit this PowerPoint to the recipients immediately. I will align it with you first. Don't worry. I want you to be able to approve it first before I send it to the rest. That's the predictability that they want. Okay? And don't feel bad. Don't make it feel like, someone's hovering like a helicopter. Take it as an opportunity to be mentored. Your manager is a baby boomer. They've probably gone through a lot of years already. So take it as an opportunity to keep on asking questions. Okay? Ooh, okay. I'm going to flip the coin. What if your boss is a Generation Z and you are a Generation X? What is the best approach on this regarding work? Okay. Number one, obviously, it's going to be an awkward situation because the Generation Z somehow will think that they are being judged by the other older employees. Okay, can I get a letter J if you can relate to that? Somehow, it's going to be normal for a Generation Z boss that whenever they send an email, they cascade a town hall meeting, or they submit a report, they will always think, ooh, all of my direct reports are older than me. They will nitpick mistakes and they will find a way to, you know, make me fall down out of those mistakes. It's normal for some Gen Zs to think that way, especially when you have a generation that has a relatively higher sense of anxiety, right? Remember, it's a generation that has gone through a lot, such as the pandemic, which increased the level of also of anxiety. If you happen to be a Generation X and you're reporting to a Generation Z and you have spotted that they've done something wrong, or they've done something that, a mistake because they're young and they weren't exposed yet to it, try to manage your choice of words whenever you give them some sense of mentorship. Okay. So rather than being condescending and say, that's not how you do it. See, I told you you're too young for this. Rather than using those words, okay, try to use an approach wherein you're saying it out of care. You're saying it out of support. So say something like, John, let's say I'm the Gen X and I'm talking to my boss who's a Gen Y. So I'll say something like, John, you know, when I was also doing this project a few years ago, here's what I experienced, and here's what I think we should do. Would you consider also doing this? So the tone is imparting your wisdom out of the years, okay, that you've gained. That's the first one. Number two, if you happen to be a Generation X, it's also normal from your end to feel competitive. It's very normal from your end to question the decision and say, bakit siya? Mas bata. Why this person? When in fact, I'm even senior, I'm older, I've had more years of experience, I should have been the boss. Here's where I want you to do some introspection. And I want you to change your mind believing that tenure and years of experience do not automatically assume that you're going to become the team leader in a department. Can I get an exclamation mark if we're clear with that? Please do not automatically assume that, especially in progressive companies, companies that look at merit more than your age, they will always prioritize who's better than who is older. So do not take it personally. It's not because they think you're too old for it, and it's not because they think that one person is being favored. It must be because, based on a certain set of criteria, this younger person was able to show that they can manage a team better than you do. So if you happen to be a Gen X, even if you're the fastest sender of emails, even if you've sent the best reports, even if you've delivered the best sales, that's not enough for you to become a manager, because a manager no longer executes. A manager leads. So perhaps the reason why you did not get promoted and the younger person did is because the younger person had managerial and leadership skills. If you want your turn to become a leader to happen soon, you need to probably work on your leadership skills as well. Okay? And number three, if I'm the Gen X, I will take it as an opportunity to learn something new. Just because my manager is younger does not mean that they know something, that they know less. Case in point, if you're a Gen X, I think we can learn a lot in terms of technology, in terms of making use of shortcuts so that we can spend our time doing something else for our work. Okay? Okay, let's answer some more. Let's do this and then we'll give away some prizes right after this question. Okay, this is a long one from Renz Dulay. I have a job offer, but the company unfortunately informed me that the position that was offered was canceled. So instead, they offered me another position, but I did not receive a call from the HR manager. The manager who interviewed helped me for another position, and they endorsed me to HR. But I still don't get a call from the manager for almost 2 months now. Okay, wow. 2 months is a lot of time, Renz. My question is, do I still consider their offer and it took so long for them to contacted me? Okay, Renz, number one, 2 months is a red flag. 2 months is a red flag such that the HR or that manager probably even assumed that you are already working somewhere else. Okay? My only question here is, how exactly did you contact this company when they were not responding to you? Did you make a phone call? Sometimes I would even visit the office, for example. I would go to that resort. I would resort to that last final appeal. I would go to their office, look for that person, do a one-on-one talk, and tell them, you owe me. You told me that X, Y, and Z. Okay? Number three, Renz, I have a big feeling that there was no contract involved when you got the offer. And here's what I'm always going to tell you guys. If there is no contract of employment, even if they told it to you verbally that you got the job, we will see you in the next 2 weeks, do not celebrate yet, because it gives them the license to cancel that job order. Can I get an exclamation mark? So my issue here, Renz, is that wala kang pangahawakan. Okay? In fact, from a legal perspective, if ever you file a lawsuit, it's going to be hard for you to get back on them if there was no agreement at all. Written documentation that you were offered a position. Okay? So I don't have complete information here. Can you also please tell me what exactly are you doing now, because it's been 2 months? Okay? 2 months is really a long time. I will assume after 1 month of not being contacted that they have moved on. Because if a company really wants you, and again, I'll keep on saying this, if a company really wanted you in the first place, they will not make you chase them. They will make things easy for you because you are now an employee of that new company, right? Just like in romantic relationships, if he or she has not been contacting you for 5 days or 7 days and keep on telling that they're too busy, it's not because they're busy, it's because they're not as interested as you are. Sad to say, but it is what happens in reality. Okay? So, Rands, okay, I'm also gonna add one more here. When you're applying for jobs, do not bet on only one company. You have to spread your chances on more companies. Do not put your resume and drop it in only one company. Go for 10, 15, or 20 applications. Again, it is like a raffle. The more chances you earn is based on the number of applications you also leave. Okay? What are my thoughts on AI? Very exciting. A lot of things are done faster. I'm only concerned that a lot of fake things are also going to happen. Case in point, I will not find out easily if someone really writes well because they probably use an AI software to write that essay or to write that resume. So, if you happen to be a job recruiter, do not just rely on one type of questioning. You have to make case simulations to really find out if this person is still good with or without AI. Okay? Okay, gladiators in suits. I want to give away now tickets to our upcoming workshops. Can I get a letter P if you guys are ready for a prize? So, on June 21 and June 24, we are conducting 5 workshops at the SMX Convention Center at Fort BGC and SM Aura Taguig. These are workshops on leadership, social media marketing, public speaking, business writing, and motivation. You can go to our website, jonathanyabut.com, to get the schedule and the modules if you'd like to review them. The ticket is worth 1,799 pesos for a 3-hour workshop. But for today, I want to select 3 winners, and you can bring a plus one so you can attend our workshop. Okay? Can I get a letter R if you guys are ready? So I'll be asking a trivia question. The fastest fingers are going to win. Oh, cool. 5 tickets, sorry, 2 tickets per person, 5 sessions. That's about 10,000 pesos worth of prizes. Okay. So if you guys are ready, I think my category for tonight is. Hmm, can I. Oh, can I use the category science? Is science okay with you folks? Pwede. Science. Yes. Okay. Can I use? I came from pharma. I worked 4 years in the pharmaceutical industry, so I want to ask a question related to medicines. Is that okay? It's a trivia question. Yes. Okay, puede. Okay, so here's my question. Name this medicine. It's a very popular one, arguably one of the most used medicines in the world, that was accidentally discovered when Alexander Fleming left a culture of bacteria because he had to go for a vacation. And when he went back, it developed into this. Okay? We're going to call 2 winners on TikTok, 1 winner on Facebook, 1 winner on LinkedIn, and 1 winner on YouTube. Okay? What is that? And here's a clue because I think a lot of you guys already got it. It's an antibiotic. So, my winners are, bilis nyo ah, you guys are so quick. The correct answer, by the way, is penicillin. Okay? So, my winners are, let's first select the winners on Facebook. Sorry, TikTok muna. 2 winners on TikTok. The winners are, okay, it's hard to dig deeper because there are too many answers. Okay, first winner is Bruce and Hansel. Congratulations, Bruce and Hansel. Second winner is Camila. 𝗀_𝗀_𝘀_𝗀_𝘀_𝗀_𝗀_𝑘MILA. Congratulations. So, Bruce and Camila, how do you claim your prize? Send me a private message on TikTok so you can get the instructions on how to claim your prizes. Now, winners on Facebook and TikTok, one winner each. My first winner on Facebook. Okay, first winner is Erwin Viloria. Congratulations, Erwin Viloria. And then my winner on LinkedIn is 𝗧cie_𝗱𝘆_'Lingat. 𝗧cie_𝗱𝘆_Lingat. Congratulations as well. And finally, my winner on YouTube. My winner on YouTube is, am I pronouncing it right? 𝗧cie_𝗱𝘆_'Daanghari. Congratulations. 𝗧cie_𝗱𝘆_Daanghari on you. I no no sorry. Wait. That was on LinkedIn. Sorry. The winner is Emily Cuenca. There you go, from YouTube. Also for penicillin. Sorry. False alarm. Sorry, Shesta. Ha? If ever I made you excited, sorry. The winner is Emily Cuenca. Okay, let's continue our session, gladiators in suits. I think we can cover two or three more questions before I head off for dinner. Shesta cried though. Okay. JJP from TikTok says, is leadership training for top and middle managers only? How about a typical employee? I am a believer, and this is why I do this for a living, that the earlier a person is, they should be able to learn how to become a good leader. Why is that? Because if you're only going to do workshops and trainings when they're in their 30s or 40s, they already made a lot of mistakes in their career that might have broken someone else's career. Can I get an exclamation mark if you agree? I've met so many leaders like this. They only learn how to speak properly to their people in their 40s. So all those years, they have been traumatizing so many employees, which is so sad. And that's why the earlier the person is, and by the way, leadership is not only applied in the corporate world, leadership is applied in families, in communities, right? It's applied in any situation where you have to fight for power. And so the earlier the person is, the younger the person is, the more you should start teaching and building their leadership skills. Okay? Okay. Rai from TikTok is asking, what should team members do if they are being micromanaged? This is my style. I would talk to my manager and I would explain to my manager how is it causing my engagement, how it is lowering the morale of the team. So I'll say something like, boss, I understand that the reason why you want to do X, Y, and Z is because you want to be able to predict, or maybe because you don't think that I'm able to get the job done. However, can I again negotiate? Can I negotiate? Is it okay that instead of you telling me what to do on this, I'll do this first on my own, and then afterwards I will present it to you? Is that okay? Okay. Sometimes you have to push for negotiation. Okay. Please also take note, the reason why micromanagers will keep on micromanaging is because they do not trust your craft. Remember, leaders and managers are busy people. It is not their number one intention to spend additional time on you. Can I get another exclamation mark? It's not. If I was your boss, why will I spend more time micromanaging you when I have to finish more episodes on Netflix and I need to go home early tonight? I don't have that incentive. If I can let you do things on your own, I will. If I'm gonna let you be empowered, I will. It saves me time. I can do other things. But why will I keep on micromanaging you? Because you're showing me signs that you will likely make a mistake. And I don't want to be part of that mistake. I'd rather micromanage you instead. That is what your manager is implicitly telling you. So when your manager is micromanaging you, it is a symptom that you're not stepping up to the plate. It is a symptom that you're not making them satisfied with your output. So the issue might be not your boss. The issue might be it's you. It's the quality of your output. That's why they will keep on micromanaging you. Okay. Do we have workshops for kids? Our Boost Your Confidence is also available for not kids. Unfortunately, we only allow for our SMX Convention Center workshops, we only allow 14 years old and up, preferably those that are in high school. So that's the earliest that we can offer. Sir John, do you have a podcast? I often get this question. Yes, we do. You can go to Spotify, type my name, Jonathan Yabut. We're now on season 2, and our podcast is entitled From Grit to Great. We talk about career management, leadership, and entrepreneurship. Okay, more questions. I think we can get two more. Jade Fennel on YouTube. How do you handle coworkers or colleagues who see your growth as competition? Number one, it's normal. A lot of people are going to be insecure because they want to be in your position. So, this is a mental battle for some people. If you're going to let them affect how you think, you're going to lose it. Number two, if you have an opportunity, if you think that the opportunity exists and your relationship is not as sour, I would do a heart to heart talk. And I would tell them, for example, if they've done something wrong to you, like they've bullied you or they've said hurtful words, I will confront them and I will tell them we're on the same team. If I happen to be doing well in X, Y, and Z, it's not because I want to put you down. I want you to be on the same page. You're not my competition. We're on the same boat. Your success is my success. My success can also be your success because if our team does way better, the entire company benefits from it. Okay? So you need to clarify to them that you're not their competition, you're their ally. And you can even offer extra help. And you can tell them, do you need help on how to do VLOOKUP on spreadsheets? I'm here to help you on that. Okay? Sometimes all that they need to know is a level of comfort and assurance that you can be someone that they can rely on if they also need help in the future. Okay? Now, I think it's a different ball game if we're talking about friends. Because my philosophy is if I have friends who are not happy for my success, and therefore they don't deserve to be my friends, because I want to be surrounded by people. And remember, you get to choose your friends. You don't get to choose your workmates. You don't get to choose your boss all the time, but you get to choose your friends. So if this friend has nothing but just grievance and insecurity if I'm doing well in my life, I'm not going to be surrounded by those people. I'm going to choose a different set of friends who will be a fountain, not a drain in my life. Okay? Oh, okay. William says in TikTok, why is it that I cannot stay in a job that only lasts me 6 to 8 months and then I get thirsty finding a new job? Lots of things. Number one, maybe you need some guidance on what to look out for if this is the company for you. I'll give you an example. Most people will think that if they do not enjoy the company of people, it's a chaotic and messy company, they don't like the culture, in 2 or 3 months, they will quit. My philosophy is different. I am a believer that it is a possibility that sometimes you were just unlucky to have entered that company at a wrong time and at a wrong context. For example, in some companies, August and September are budget seasons. These are the time when everyone is just really in a bad mood, too many tight deadlines, the company is chaotic and messy. And sometimes, if we don't look at the bigger picture, we start thinking that this is going to be the permanent state of the company, when in fact it's not. That if you only stayed few more months, longer months, you will realize, things got better. The people changed. This isn't their permanent state. The company got better in terms of X, Y, and Z. And so if only you stayed longer, you probably would not want to leave at all. Okay? That's one. Number two, My philosophy is that if your mindset is that there will always be a better one, then you will never be satisfied in life. You will always keep on thinking that there's always going to be a better one. And I think this also applies in relationships. If your mindset with your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, or husband is that there's always going to be a better one, I'm afraid that I might be settling for someone who doesn't deserve me. You will forever be discontented in life. Can I get an exclamation mark? So here's where I'm going to ask you, maybe you want to change your perspective. Your perspective being, instead of looking at the bad things only, consider what are the amazing things in the company that you know that other companies will not be able to offer. And that therefore makes you appreciate the company to how unique they are. Okay? I have a third answer here. I'm saying this because I've met a lot of people like this, people who have never been satisfied after 5 or 6 months. Maybe the solution is not to keep on moving to a different company. Maybe the solution is to venture out on your own. And that means maybe there's something in you that wants to start your own business. Maybe your entrepreneurial DNA is itching because when you get to start your own, you get to decide everything from scratch, which means you will never be disappointed. Because if ever you have shortcomings, it's all because of you, and you don't need to blame it onto anyone else. You also don't need to quit. You probably just need to start a different venture in this case. Okay? I hope I was able to answer your question. Okay, what else? Can we cover one more question? I think we can. By the way, team, this is my early state. I usually go live at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the evening. The only reason why I'm doing it early tonight is because I have dinner to catch in a few minutes. If you're watching us on a Saturday or Sunday, we usually go live at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock Manila time. So hope you get to catch us. And if you haven't yet given us a like or a heart, we will appreciate that, please. That's the only thing I will request from you guys for being part of the session. It will help us improve our social media algorithm. Oh, okay. Kevin on TikTok is asking, what if your boss does not know the portfolio that you are handling, but he or she is micromanaging you? Kevin, number one, sorry, is it Kevin? Or yeah, Kevin. Number one, my style to manage my own manager is that I list down a project list. I create a project list and I submit that project list every Monday to my boss. If I can push it further, it's not going to be a submission, it's going to be a meeting, a 15-minute huddle telling my manager, here are the things I need to accomplish. Is there anything that you want me to add? Is there anything that I am missing out? What do you think of my attack for letter X, letter Y, letter Z? And the reason for that is because I have to acknowledge that managers are busy people. So busy that sometimes they tend to forget what exactly you're working on. And this is the reason why a lot of managers will keep on dumping additional job. They will keep on dumping because they thought you're only working on 2 projects, but because they're human beings also, they forgot you're working on 10. And sometimes all it takes is a nudge and to remind them, nope, I'm not working on 2 projects, I'm working on 10. And that's fine. You may have forgotten it, but my job is to also remind you about it. Now, in an ideal world, an amazing boss does not need to get reminded. But not all of us have amazing bosses. Some of us have mediocre and incompetent bosses. So when you happen to be unfortunate to have one, take the wheel. Be the one to tell them that you are handling all these projects. If they don't have the time for a meeting, submit it as a project list. Okay? Sometimes I would do some theatrics, some optics. When I chance upon my boss at the corridor, I'll just say, oh, by the way, Project X, it's already on X, Y, and Z. It's up for approval, by the way. I will mention those things because when you get to catch your boss at the elevator, at the pantry, at the corridor, these are moments wherein you get to steal them for a few minutes or seconds and you get the license to tell them something if even if they don't want to listen to it. I was very well known for that when I was in the corporate world. Okay. Okay, let me answer this. I think we can cover this as our last question for tonight. What are your thoughts on starting a small business while working full time? Okay, I'm gonna use a metaphor that I learned when I started to get a dog. So 2 years ago, because I had some anxieties because of the pandemic and I was living alone, my friends decided for me and they volunteered for me that I should get a dog, which I did. And one of the things that I learned about a dog is that you should not be quickly changing their food from one type of food to another. Otherwise, they're going to have a stomach upset. So, for example, you change the brand from brand X to brand Y, you have to put 80% of the original food, 20% of the new food. And then a few days later on, make it 60-40, and then make it 50-50, up until it becomes in favor of the new food. If you make that transition gradual, it's going to help the dog digest the food better. Can I get a letter D? Do we have any fur babies, dog daddies, and mommies in the room? Okay. What's my point? John, why are you talking about dogs here? That, I think, is the perfect metaphor when you want to involve yourself in a small business while still in the corporate world. So, meaning, while you're still in your job, start creating the foundations and start small. Don't go full time because you will never be able to handle it on your own immediately. When I was working with AirAsia and I was starting to pivot to manage my own business, my business about consultations and for motivational talks, I spent 80% of the time full time and then 20% for my talks. And then I slowly changed that uh, percentage, that ratio, up until when I was already confident that I was earning more in my side hustle than I was earning in my full time job. And I knew that my customer base was going to be stable. That was the only time when I decided to quit my job. Meaning, I did not quit my job immediately. In fact, it took me 2 years of transition until I decided to go full time on my business. Okay. So you have to do it slowly. I'm not going to say slowly but surely, but I would say you have to do it slowly so that you get to mitigate any potential mistakes. I also want to highlight you don't want to quit easily because if this business does not do well, what's going to happen to your health insurance, to your other bills? You're going to be unemployed immediately, and that might not be good if you don't have enough savings to cover your unemployment. Okay? You know, by the way, I have lots of friends in United States, and a lot of them are business owners. A lot of them are business owners. They have their own grocery stores, they have their Amazon stores, but they still are full-time employees. You know what's the reason why? Most of them are after the health insurance. Because no matter how good you earn from your business, sometimes when something happens to your health, it's going to end up eating up millions. But if you have health insurance, it will be covered by the company. So sometimes people still do that. Okay? Okay, gladiators and suits, I have to head off. I'm going to thank you for tonight's session and thank you for joining me. Even if this was a short notice, I did it early at 6 o'clock. We usually do this at 8 or 9 p.m. If you like to listen more to our thoughts about career, you can listen to our podcast. Grit to Great is the title. You can also catch our best-selling books available in National Bookstore and in Lazada and Shopee. You can also, just to give an idea, TikTok folks, here are some examples of our books. Okay, that's Grit to Great. Fast forward, we have two other books. I don't have them with me. And if you'd like to attend our workshops, if you'd like to see me in the flesh, and you'd like to learn more about leadership, public speaking, business writing, we have workshops on June 21 and June 24 at Fort BGC SMX Convention Center. Our website, jonathanyabut.com, contains all the details where you can also buy the tickets. Okay. And last one. Last one. We just launched this yesterday. If you'd like to ask a question about your career, but I wasn't able to answer them today, you can go to our portal to submit your question, and I will find time to read and send you my response. It's johnyabut.com/advice. johnyabut.com/advice. Okay? So thank you, gladiators and suits. We'll see you guys soon. I'm not sure if I can go online tomorrow. I'll try my best. But if I get to see you, likely Saturday or Sunday. Thank you and advance happy weekend. Stay safe. Hello also to our ayan. Hello first to our Facebook friends. Hello everyone. Tanjiro here just saying goodbye. Thank you for joining our session tonight. Okay. Oh, you good na? You got your dose of your camera na? No? Good night. Okay.